Okay.
I said the wrong name. I was trying to backpedal gracefully, and you cut me off. Thank you for
Sorry.
that. No, it's okay. Black Adam Willis.
Yeah.
You got to check out Netflix's latest.
It came out a little while ago,
multi-award-winning
and now
Mudbound.
it's been nominated for a few Oscars, including Mary J. Blige, which is
Indeed.
actually nominated for
Oh, two. I didn't know.
I
two.
believe, because she does this original song.
Oh,
for this movie.
I played over the credits, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. Okay. I
And
did not know that.
This is one of those movies that's like you think of racial tensions in the Deep South post World War II. It's just like, oh man, like this will probably be good, but you kind of got to gear yourself up for a movie like that. It's like before I saw like 12 Years a Slave or something like that. I'm like, I know this is gonna be great, but I'm not gonna walk into this or out of this really happy.
No,
you know what I mean?
no,
and you're
no.
kind of
It
just
just
like you got to
looks-
brace yourself too. And
All
this
the
is-
images of this is like really sour looking Southern people. Their faces are dirty, and their expressions just scream despair the
Yes.
entire time. And like, oh, I guess it's a feel good movie.
Well, Mudbound, directed by Dee Reese. I believe she did a movie called Pariah a few years ago. I hadn't checked it out, but I hear it. It's a great film. But this is her newest film, starring Garrett Hedlund, who plays Jamie. Jason Clarke, who plays Henry. They're brothers. Carey Mulligan is in this. Mary J. Blige, like I said. Jonathan Banks is the racist old father.
Oh
of the two
yeah.
brothers.
If anyone doesn't remember him, he was on Breaking Bad.
He played Mike Ehrmantraut in
Mhm.
Breaking Bad. Yeah,
Also,
and he
for
plays
those-
like the giant racist prick, which he's,
Oh yeah, no, he's I hate
great
him.
at,
I
but
hate him
you
in
hate
this.
him, yeah.
I hate him so
which
much.
I hope it doesn't taint any of the other roles. Like sometimes you see him like, I hate you.
I've never
I
seen
think
him
that's
play a
scumbag.
likable guy. He was on Las Vegas as
He
a
was in
hate-
Community he was kind of funny.
okay. You know who he'll always be to me?
What's up?
You remember Beverly Hills Cop?
Mm-hmm.
He's the henchman that shoots Mikey Tandino in the hallway. That's who he'll always be, and I hate him.
Interesting. Yeah.
I can't get that image. Well, to be fair, I was like 4 and I saw him kill a guy on screen, so it's kind of hard to
Yeah,
shake
messed you
that
up a
image
little
off.
bit.
Yeah,
Sure.
but no, he is ultra hateful in this.
And Jason Mitchell, who Ronzel, who he's one of the other. Basically, this movie is a post-World War II story of racial tensions in the Deep South. Starts out with these two families, one of them white, one of them black, and they're both working this land. And the land is not really the best for actually bringing in your crop, and it's basically trying to navigate the Jim Crow era. Really, this racial divide is very clear, and they're basically trying to survive.
Coexist.
And coexist. While it's going on, Garrett Hedlund's character and Jason Mitchell's character are really kind of trying to get out of there, and they find their opportunity by going to war.
Yes.
And so they do, and when they get back, they kind of have this bond based on their shared alienation with everything. It's kind of this
movies have
PTSD.
employed. I've never seen it in this environment.
Right, and it's in this
The
environment,
soldiers
so it's
become
like
friends.
they kind of become friends, but at the same time, their friendship is really like a point of contention amongst everybody in this town, based on one of them's black and one of them's white.
You know what it reminds
And
me
so
of?
it's just like these people are trying to bring in their crops. However, it's just like that kind of seems secondary to these people's story and what they're going through. But what's this remind you of? Sorry.
Oh, do you remember American History X?
Yeah.
The story was a lot like that, where you get two people who, like, they start off the movie, they're on total opposite sides.
Right.
They're totally of the mindset, and it's through like a mutual experience that kind of throws them. Well, and this one doesn't directly throw them together. They share the experience, but they don't interact during the war.
Right.
It's after the war. One family
Because they
works
both
for
went
the
through
other
seen
family,
some stuff,
so they're
basically. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like they're, the horrors of war impacted them in such a way that they bond because they're the only ones who know what each one of them is going through.
Yeah.
The only
So
one
that
that can
they build
truly
mutual
empathize.
respect.
Right. And so it's them, like I said,
Like when I met Adam in Vietnam, man.
yeah, and I dragged you out of the woods that one time.
What do you mean you dragged me out of the woods?
Say both? I don't know.
I was there to rescue you. Okay, this man had holed himself up in this town, and he got real.
I was
fat.
covering myself with dirt, is what was really happening.
Yeah, talking about the horror, singing songs.
Yes.
What was your name?
Old spirituals.
Yeah, he was really fixated on napalm in the morning and the aromas. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, man, we went back. Yeah, we lived life. But anyways, this movie it's some really, troubling, dark stuff. It's really, apt for this time, given, what I mean, what we're experiencing here in
Yeah.
America. But
I love the realism. I don't think I was ready for.
it's a beautiful movie to look at, though. Like the way it's shot and these deep greens and all this like brown mud and this horrible looking land that doesn't really yield, anything, and it's shot in such a beautiful way, but it's really in stark contrast of how dark and ugly in some stuff that people's attitudes are. You know what I mean? And you
that
see
really
this,
drives home the image of these people work in the dirt all
literally
day. Like
in
the name
dirt
Mudbound
all day. Yeah.
is really apt because well, first of all, for the dark and for the south, I will almost say desert, but it wasn't a desert, but it's like hot.
And it's just
notoriously
disgusting,
just
and it's
dry,
like
but it rained a lot in this movie,
and it just doesn't end either. Like, this is your life.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? The best
muddy,
you can hope for is that
backbreaking labor day in, day out,
and it's just like this tension between everybody, and it's really kind of like the horrors of everyday life of just trying to, put food on the table, but also just, you know what I mean, just find any bit of happiness too. You know what I mean? Some connectedness as well.
So then tell me, who moved you in this sucker? Like,
I think I think the role everybody played their part really well. I mean, Jason Mitchell I thought did excellent. You know what I mean?
He was spectacular.
And Garrett Hedlund as well. They're the two people from each family that went to war.
Wait,
and it's very subtle.
Is
Hedlund
the same dude that played the brother in Get Out?
No.
Okay, all right, because I couldn't place the face and I didn't have time to look it up, but it looked like him. And I was just like, if that's him, the range on this dude is amazing.
I'm trying to think of a movie he was in that you would know. But he's got quite a few. He's got a pretty good resume at this point in time.
Well, he was great.
He was great. I think that, his very, nuanced, kind of understated role. It's not like that big, grand speeches and stuff like that. A lot of it's told with, like, the subtleties of the movement, the eyes, you know what I mean? It's more of like a quiet, performance opposed to like these, like I said, these grand speeches and stuff like that. These declarations really of racial stuff like that. Soapboxing or anything like that.
But it wrenches really the emotions from you and just lets you sit with them for a bit.
Yeah, and you see how like the racial stuff like could be in your family and it can poison everything, because we're talking about like what was his name? What were we talking about?
Hedlund? Mitchell?
No, the father, Jonathan Banks, the
Oh yeah.
From Breaking Bad, he's the racist, toxic person that infects everything. Because all he does, he's really this background character that really just is questioning everything people do and constantly badgering and having this really negative type outlook, and that really just seeps into everything and just kind of brings it down, and just really despicable man.
There's no redemption for him. Like,
no, he's too far gone. There's no saving him, and once you understand that, it's just like, oh, what a prick.
Yeah. The only saving grace there was this movie takes place in 18 whatever, and he's dead now.
Yes.
Oh, in 19 whatever, but he's dead now.
Yes.
I will say, if anyone doesn't remember Mitchell, I just have to flash people back to Straight Outta Compton. He was Eazy-E. He did a great job in that, and for some reason, that's the only role I can flash back to him, because I think this is his best role.
Yeah, he's coming. I mean, he's one of these young guys. You're going to see a lot of good stuff out of him, and this movie, like I said, is very understated, and he nailed it, man. You know what I mean? It's
absolutely,
he did it with some quiet grace, and this movie's it's heavy, and it's really a fascinating watch, and I think you should all probably check it out. It's free on Netflix. So. It's up for some awards in Oscar time. But it's definitely worth checking out. I'll give it a thumbs up, 100%.
Cool. I'll give it a thumbs up too. And I do have to say, if anyone checks out the trailer for this, the trailer is very misleading. Because I watched the trailer and it seemed like it was going to be along the same lines of like a Candyman type thing. A black dude comes back from the war. He's familiar with a different way of life because that's how he's been living, European for the last few years.
Candyman.
And then maybe he looks at a white woman the wrong way, and then maybe she looks back, and then that's where the turmoil comes from. And it's good about it keeps you guessing, because I went into this thinking, okay, we realize this is going to be the good guy we root for. Okay, and this is going to be where the turmoil lies, and this is going to be this situation, that's going to be that situation. And most of it's not.
No, it's and I think that would have been a reductive way to go about it. You know what I mean? Because it's not just like black and white. This is a bad guy. This is a good guy. This is a racist guy. This is like a guy.
Yeah, no. You know what
I mean? It's more
tropes.
Yeah, it's more abstract than that. There's a lot more to it. And like I said, when you have this father character, and you brought up the movie American History X before, and there's a great moving scene in that film as well, where you see the seeds of racism planted when they're sitting around the dinner table, and they have the father, and the father's played by Corey Matthews' father from Boy Meets World.
Yeah, so
and so you see him, but he's and he's talking about books. Talking about books written by black authors. He's like, well, why are you reading books by black authors? Is it Black History Month? He's like, why are you replacing books by white authors? And that's, he says that's N-word bullshit.
Yeah, and the little seeds that are planted here and there are really what affects the kids over time. That's the seeds you get,
and it's just kind of in the same way. This one is to the extreme.
He was just way more in your face. There wasn't like subtle seeds planted.
This is old, deep South racism, so that's just it's just right in your face. It's, the language is there.
This was a hard movie to watch, but this was a good movie to watch, and I think everyone on that list deserves to be up for the awards that they're up for.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. Like I said, I give it a thumbs up. I would definitely suggest watching it.
Also, real quick, what was the name of...
it's long, too.
What was the name of the wife?
Kelly Mulligan.
Kelly Mulligan, thank you.
Yes.
I couldn't place her face, but I knew I had seen it before. Mm-hmm. And she's done a fair amount of stuff, but she's a British actress.
She's great. She's done a lot of movies.
She's really good. I haven't seen anything else but this one role. I saw a couple of things, but I didn't recognize her in them somehow. Mm-hmm. But I recognized her from one role. Any of our like staunch Doctor Who geeks out there, any of our fellow Whovians will remember her from the single episode appearance, a very memorable appearance as Sally Sparrow in the episode Don't Blink. And it's an episode of Doctor Who without Doctor Who. Okay. It revolves around her and this guy she co-owns a shop with. And I'm like, it's ingrained where her hair is different in this. She's a little older, but that was definitely her. And I'm like, the face is like burned into my memory, and I can't place why. She carried that episode very well.
She's great. She did the movie Inside Llewyn Davis, the Coen Brothers movie.
I remember that movie. I don't remember her
actually, Garrett Hedlund's in that movie too. So both actors are in that film, and she was.
I think they're overshadowed by the cocaine-addled John Goodman.
No, it was heroin.
John Goodman.
That's why they keep stopping in the bathroom every.
I still wonder, did that poor cat ever get out? We're going off on a tangent here. I apologize, but in the movie Inside Llewyn Davis, he dies in a car with a cat. And Llewyn just leaves him on the side of the road while it's raining.
Well, I mean, they get pulled over, then Garrett Hedlund gets arrested, so he's literally like abandoned in a car, and they took the keys with him.
Yeah.
So he has to hitchhike back.
But he locked the cat in the car. Did the cat live?
I don't know, man.
He locked Schrodinger's cat in the car.
Yes.
Did the cat live or did the cat die?
Well, that's the odyssey of the cat. I think the cat's name was what? Like Odysseus or something like that.
Geez. The cat's name was Fate, ironically.
Yeah.
All right, so we've gone way too long.
Not too long.
I think it was a good bit to go into, man, because no conversation is complete without remnants of Inside Llewyn Davis.
Right. One of my
boring movies.
Oh my god, I love that movie so much.
I fell asleep. It was.
This will always be a point of contention between us two, and I loved it, and I will not hear anything else. So we're moving on.
I heard so much good stuff. A lot from you about this. Wait, what are you doing? My audio went out. Oh,
I was hanging.
You were hanging around. Wow. Okay.
Your mic's still out?
No, I'm good with these anyway.
I was trying to turn you off.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. All right. Well, let's talk about Venomverse real quick. I know